Take your time, Charlie. He's just messing with you, she said, a smile in her voice.
Tuesday's your last day at St. Vincent's, isn't it?
Andrews asked. That's right. Tuesday's my last official day. I might help out on a temporary basis later on, but I'm not promising anything yet.
Then you could decide to come back permanently.
She didn't reply. He persisted.
They'll give you anything you want. You could name your price, your hours. You should stay here, Ellie. You belong here.
She didn't agree or disagree. In truth, she didn't know where she belonged. It had been such a hard road to get this far, she hadn't had time to think about the future. At least that was the excuse she used for her indecision. Maybe, she finally conceded. I just don't know yet. She stood over Charlie, watching like a mother hen. I want those stitches tight. Yes, Dr. Sullivan.
So Monday night is my last chance to take you to heaven? Andrews asked in a teasing drawl.
She laughed.
Heaven? Last week you were going to rock my world. Now you're going to take me to heaven? I guarantee it. I've got testimonials if you want to see them.
It's not going to happen, Kevin.
I'm not giving up.
She sighed. I know. As she checked the last suture, she rolled her shoulders and stretched her neck to one side, then the other to get the kinks out. She'd been in the OR since 5 a.m., which meant she had been bent over patients for 11 hours. Sad to say, that wasn't a record for her. She felt wrung out and stiff and sore. A good run around the park would get those muscles moving, she decided. Maybe even rev up her energy.
You know what would help you get rid of a stiff neck, Andrews said.
Let me guess. A trip to heaven?
One of the nurses snorted with laughter. He's awfully persistent, Dr. Sullivan. Maybe you should give in.
Ellie removed her gloves and dropped them in the trash bag by the OR doors. Thanks, Megan, but I think I'll just go for a run instead. As she pushed the doors wide, she untied her surgical mask and pulled off her cap, shaking her blonde hair loose to fall to her shoulders. 20 minutes later, she was officially off duty. She changed into her workout clothes, a pair of faded red shorts and a white tank top. She double-tied her beat-up running shoes, grabbed a rubber band, and swept her hair up in a ponytail, slipped her iPod into one pocket and her cell phone into the other, and she was ready. Walking a maze of corridors to get outside, she avoided the direct route through the ER for fear she'd get waylaid with another case. There was never a lack of patients rolling through the doors. Along with the usual emergencies, the car accidents, the heart attacks, the work injuries, the ER saw a steady stream of victims of violent crimes. The vast majority were young men. Gangs roamed the area east of the highway, and shooting one another seemed to be a nightly sport. Since St. Vincent's was the largest trauma center in St. Louis, all the serious cases came to them. Weekends were a nightmare for the staff. There were times, especially during the hot summer months, when gurneys lined the halls of the ER with patients handcuffed to the railings while they waited to go into surgery. Additional police had to be routinely called in to monitor them to make certain one gang member hadn't been placed too close to a rival. Ellie became a member of the 100 Club when she removed her 100th bullet. It wasn't a club she wanted to join, but she would always remember the case. The young man was only 20 years old, and it was the third time he'd been shot. She couldn't forget his insolence and his cold, empty eyes. They were almost as lifeless as the cadavers down in the morgue. Patching up these boys so that they could return to the streets in the same violence was heart-wrenching, and she prayed, with every surgery, that this time they would learn something, that this time they would find a new life. It was a naive hope, but she clung to it anyway. Like the other overworked and underpaid residents and fellows, Ellie operated on broken bodies, the consequence of violence. But she had never actually